In this video, I am going to share top traps in the Queen's Gambit decline variation. Now, when I say Queen's Gambit decline, the meaning is simple that your opponent is not capturing the pawn and trying to protect his pawn. He can play c6, the slab defense, e6, the Queen's Gambit decline, and even better, e5, the Arabian counter gambit. So, I'll show you how you can counter attack all these openings in this video. Well, so c6, over here, this is the slab defense. Now what you do is you will simply take out the knight. After your opponent take out his knight, you take out your another knight. So basically you follow the principle called knight before the bishop. That's it. And then you will take out the bishop, play e3, open up this bishop, that's it. Now over here, this is black to play. And we have the first trap. So black over here, the most common played response is bishop f5. Now they believe that they are developing their bishop and controlling this and making diagonal such that you cannot play queen c2. So they believe that they are doing a great job with this. Well, actually, this is not the fact. So what you can do is you can simply take the pawn at the center, and in the slab defense, it is always important to take the pawn. Okay, because if you not take and you play something else, for example, you take out the bishop, what he may do is he can easily take your pawn, you will play e3, and then he will play b5. His position will become protected. Now, it does not mean that you have to resign. You can still play a4 and try to attack. But it's about not taking risk. Why are you taking risk and all? So just eliminate it and the plan cannot be functionable for black. Okay, so with c take d5, after he takes, you take out the queen. With this, you'll attack the weak b7 pawn along with the d5 pawn. Now there are three common most responses with what you can play. So basically number one, the most common played response, queen b6. Another is b6 and another one is queen c7. So over here, let's begin with the third response, that is queen c7. What you do is you will take out the bishop to f4. Now you might say that what am I doing? Like I just sacrificed the bishop like that. So you all may say that this is a blunder which I'm doing. No, that's not true. You can easily go on with queen take on this. If your opponent take it, you can simply capture the b7 pawn and win the rook in the next move. Now this is the brilliant move that you play. Okay, suppose your opponent does not play this and play queen b6. Then what you do? So you may simply capture the d5 pawn. Now you might say that knight can take it. Well, knight take then queen take. That's a very simple thing which you are going to do. And you'll control this 5. But the fact is that many players as black, they don't go with this. Instead, they play queen take on b3. Now there is the correct variation which you all must learn and play. Knight take on f6 check. He take from any pawns and then you capture this. Okay, so this is how you continue your game. Your rook file becomes activated. You just have to activate the bishop, play e3, take out the bishop and castle. That's it. And this is going to be a very easy win for you. You are already ahead of pieces. Actually, you are ahead of one pawn. And even as per computer analysis, it is giving you a win rate. Anyways, so let's go back and let's have the mistake variation. So there are some players who play knight c7. They believe that this is a foe. Well, this is not a fact, not the correct response which you are playing. Your opponent can easily move the king, and then you have to take the queen, right? So he can easily win this. So ultimately, you will become down a minor piece. So that's why it is suggested that you must not go with knight c7 check. Instead, just eliminate it. And after elimination, take this. Open up this rook file. You may plan for taking out the bishop, e3, and even taking this castling. That's it. This is the very basic plan that I'm telling you. Okay. And the another variation we have is b6. Now what you play against b6? So against b6, you have a more stunning response, e4. Now you might say that what are you doing, man? You are just giving up the pawn like that, even at the center. Now you always said that central pawn are very important. Why are you sacrificing it? So my dear friends, sacrificing this pawn is not at all a mistake. Because if your opponent captures this back, Now you might say to your knight is under attack and all. You may easily hop in the knight towards the center. Now what's the main reason? The main reason is the checkmate. So that's a checkmate in one. Your opponent can play bishop e6 or e6. Let him play whatever he can. Suppose he play e6. You'll take out the bishop, give a check. Over here, if we develop his knight, and that's the most common played move, you'll continue with bishop g5. The idea is to create a pin. So on, you can observe that knight, bishop are completely attacking this knight. What you may do is you can even play queen a4 and join this. Anyway, so bishop e7. You may simply take this. After you take it back from the bishop or the pawn, whatever. What you may do is you can continue with knight take on d7. The king cannot escape anywhere because the knight is controlling this. So whatever he plays, suppose he plays a move like a6, you may simply go on with knight take on, b6 check, knight take on f6 check, whatever. That's your call. Go on with anything. Okay, now you might say that knight take on this, pawn take this bishop. So you can continue with queen take d5. The king goes to f8. You take the rook. And that's a very easy win for you. This is the 15th move of the game, man. And you just take this rook, you destroy his king castling ability, just castle and continue game. So that's a very easy win for you. Now let's go backwards and we have another trap. Now this was how you play in b6. Okay, so this was about the slap defense. Now let's have another variation, and as I told about the queen's gambit decline, that is e6. Now how you play against this? So you'll simply take out the knight. After your opponent play knight f6, you play bishop g5. The idea is to create a pin. Now over here there are top two responses. Number one is bishop to b4 and number two is bishop e7. In this part of video, I'll discuss about bishop e7 because that's the first common played response. And bishop b4 is not very tough. I can just explain you about that. And maybe in the next video, I'll add some traps into it. Anyway, so with this, what you can do is you can simply take the pawn. After pawn take it, you go with e3, develop your knight, the bishop and castle quickly. Okay, so with bishop b4, it's not an advantage for black and not for us also. Now, why is that so? It's always because of the bishop over here, which is creating a pin. Otherwise, if you play bishop f4, then he can play bishop here. You play e3, he can even take the knight and try to attack this. So that's why it's always suggested that you must take out the bishop to g5. Okay, now let's come to the common played move, and that is bishop e7. Then what you do is you may simply move e3. Over here, your opponent castle, you develop your knight. After he go on with development of another knight, you may go with capturing the pawn. After retake, you go with bishop d3, rook e8, and then rook c1. Now once again, here the most common played move is c6. What you may do to counter attack this? Over here, you may continue with castling. Your opponent play the move x6. Now these are all the most common looking moves, right? You may simply play bishop f4, and this is how you control this diagonal. Now if you play the queen's gambit decline variation, you will reach this kind of position ultimately. Okay, so over here the most common played move is knight x5, and that's a blunder. Now he is trying to attack this bishop so that he can take it. After you take, he can play queen c7. Okay, so he is just making way for the queen to come to c7. Now what you do over here is sacrifice the knight. Now you might say that what are you doing? Now you are sacrificing the knight. So this is the brilliant knight sacrifice, because if your opponent take this, you may simply play bishop c7 and that's the queen trap. So you can say bye to the queen. Now let us say your opponent captures the bishop. So who said that you have to take back from the pawn? Just capture it back from the knight, and that's a very easy win for you. Now let's go back, and this was how you crush this variation of e6. Okay, so over here let's have another variation, and as I told about the Alpine counter gambit. So how you play against this? So against this, you may simply capture the e5 pawn. Your opponent push d4, you play knight f3. After knight c6, he is trying to attack this pawn. You'll play g3. Bishop g4, bishop g2. Now it does not mean that he can take this. Because after he take pawn, bishop take it, knight take this, then you can capture the b7 pawn. Okay. So it is not going to be the advantage of black. Over here, if we play rook b8, you can simply move the bishop backwards. Else, you can even play queen a4 checks, try to make some fun. Otherwise, I'll say simply move the bishop backwards and you get the open diagonal. So this is a very powerful thing that you'll have. So that's why you can expect that your opponent does not trade. Okay, so he'll play queen d7. Now his idea is that you'll castle and then he'll play bishop here. So if you are quite aware of this, then don't castle. Instead, surprise your opponent with x3. Now with this, your opponent will take some time. He'll make sure what he can play. And at last, if we try bishop take f3, you'll take it back after he spawned with long castling. With this, he is trying to protect his pawn so that he can capture it. Now, if he is doing this, now let me remind you, this is a big blunder. Now, why is that so? Because you can play bishop g4, creating the pin, and the queen is gone. So whatever he tries, suppose f5, then he forgot about the end person. Bishop is going to attack the queen, and whatever he respond with, suppose knight take, trying to develop his knight and all, just say bye to the queen, and that's how you crush the Alpine counter gambit.